he tried to throw the splitter and instead kind of messed up. We'll see. Time for No Huddle starting in Philly. Carson Wentz held out of the Eagles scrimmage Sunday with a soft tissue injury. Philly reportedly being very cautious to ensure that their signal caller is ready for week 1. All right, Brandon, you sound a little surprised. Should Eagles fans be concerned given Carson Wentz's injury history here?
Hell yeah, they should be concerned. I mean, how do you have a soft tissue issue? I can't even say it. Coming out of this long offseason as a player, you embrace this. You get an opportunity to recover and really build up your body the right way. If you check out this kid's injury history, it's really concerning. Now, injury is a part of sport. It's inevitable, especially when you look at football players. But go back to 2015. This is unbelievable. You know, because when you look around the league, you got the Russell Wilsons of the quarterback position. You got Eli Manning. You got Brett Favre, and these guys did a tremendous job of sticking and standing upright. Carson Wentz, man, it makes me wonder how long he has to go, and it makes me even think about Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was beat down mentally. Andrew Luck was beat down physically, and then he ended up walking away from the game. Now, I'm not trying to go there right now, but this quarterback has been beaten and brutalized for a very long time. It's time for them to figure this out.
Okay. I'm going to say this is not a big deal, Nick. And I understand that Carson's had a few injury issues, but like, you know, previous results do not guarantee future success. Like, just because he was injured doesn't mean this minor soft tissue injury, which all of a sudden I, as a sports commentator, am qualified to analyze. I'm just not going to say this is a big deal. It's not Jalen time.
Eli Manning
with
never
respect
missed a practice.
to what you're saying, Wilds, and our resident Eagles fan, Dustin Waite, who's a great statistician but is just blind on this topic because he wrote on my stat sheet today, I think this is a fake news story. You both don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, there's 32 teams in the league. There's 32 teams in the league. How many quarterbacks are dealing with an injury, missing practice? Best I can tell, it's one. And it's the one who has had trouble finishing seasons dating back to his second year in the league because of injury. Going into training camp, if you were to say to the Philadelphia Eagles, 2 guys you don't want to see miss time early, the first 2 names that would be listed are their quarterback and their first-round pick. Both are now out. Jalen Reagor got hurt in the same practice Carson Wentz missed.
Right.
And so, yeah, this is a concern. It's just, it's not, I don't think a soft tissue injury, you write off the season, but it's clearly a
minor
concern.
soft tissue injury. Minor soft tissue injury.
Hey, look, we seem to be having the same conversation every year about Carson. On to Dallas now.
Like how he called it a tissue issue.
It's a tissue issue. It's exactly what it is. It's a tissue issue. The head coach, Mike McCarthy, I get that throughout the entire winter. Winter tissue issues. Mike McCarthy's getting Dak and all of his weapons up to speed. Wide receiver Michael Gallup, excited about the things that McCarthy is doing. Listen to this, guys. He said, quote, McCarthy wants us to have a good time while we're out there, make sure we're having fun, you know, just a different variety of things that he does that we haven't had there in the past. That's been good for us. I don't know, kind of sounds like a knock on Jason Garrett. Brandon, how much of an upgrade will McCarthy be over Jason Garrett this season?
Big time. I think it was long overdue. You know, when you hear these things, and I say it all the time, you really got to pay attention to these guys in the press conferences, whether it's player or coach. They tell us a lot of things. When I actually dove deeper into this story, I heard a lot of things come out like it's a breath of fresh air. I heard a lot of things like Coach Garrett was a master of the message, but not real communication. He used signs, he used T-shirts to really communicate with the guys. He was too professional. So I think that the guys are really embracing this because they knew that Coach Garrett was probably there 2 or 3 years too long. So I'm excited with Coach McCarthy being there and taking over the reins. But he should do a good job. I mean, this guy sat in Appleton, Wisconsin in his barn for a year. He didn't take a year off. He sat there and he studied. He studied what was working, what wasn't working in Green Bay. He studied head coaches around the league. He studied players. He studied schemes. The only thing that I'm concerned about is his predictable offense. If this guy can come in with a few new wrinkles, we were looking at a Dallas Cowboys team that could potentially contend. And now we're talking about a team that is actually winning games, and not this whole America's team and Dallas Cowboys. Let's talk about these guys all the time.
And we'll apparently have
Just
fun
get
in the
over it.
process.
Let's start winning some games. Oh, my goodness. Win some games.
Brandon, I had a question for you. One, I think the Mike McCarthy in his barn watching every snap is not true. And I think he kind of admitted it. I think every once in a while he jumped on Netflix and watched, what is that called when you destroy the cakes? And like, what's it called? What's that show called, Jenna, when you destroy the cakes?
Boss?
Whatever it's called.
I don't know.
Made it? Anyways.
Made it.
All right, Brandon.
Coach Garrett wasn't watching and he made it. Coach, man,
yeah, he did. Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
Coach.
Nailed it is the name of the
Nailed it. There it is.
Well, there's 12
Brandon,
seconds.
when Michael Gallup talks about having fun, is that an actual, like, I know I would want to have fun if I was on the Cowboys, but does that actually have a tangible benefit in the real season, having fun in practice?
It does, because the makeup of the guy, the mentality of the player is different now. When I first got in the NFL, it was all about business. 8 o'clock team meeting. Coach Shanahan walked in that meeting. Hey, guys, this is the objective of today. Today is third down. Today is red zone. We went into our segment meetings, and we dove deeper into that game plan. Now it's about entertainment. These guys have a different mentality. If you don't have music playing for these guys when you walk in, if you're not showing some type of hype video, some cool message on the video board, Pete Carroll shooting hoops, competing before, like, you lose the guy. And it really has everything to do with the makeup of these kids coming out of college today. I witnessed it going from the Jets to the Giants. I was in shock walking into the New York Giants meeting room and music being blasted, Odell dancing, Sterling Shepard dancing. I said, what the hell is going on here? Is this football or is this an entertainment show? But this is the new football. So I think these guys are embracing it and they're loving it. And Coach McCarthy obviously did a great job in Appleton, Wisconsin, in his barn, figuring out what guys like.
Yeah. All right, so two quick things. One is during the commercial break, I said off air, listen, we got to make sure Wildes doesn't get cut off again. I felt bad. He's gotten cut off the last 2 segments. And then he spent 40 seconds there trying to search for the name of a single Netflix show. So now I totally endorse cutting him off every time the rest of the show. Like, you had your chance, and instead, you're like, there's literally 30,000 shows. You're like, what's the cake one? It was ridiculous.
You should have let me do my J.R. Smith bit.
And
otherwise, you didn't like my barn tape.
Second of all, and more importantly, Brandon, what you're describing is a team kind of being reinvigorated. That a message has grown stale and someone new comes in with a new approach and the same guys can be reinvigorated. That, I think, will help the Cowboys. The other thing is this. The Cowboys were 1-6 against playoff teams last year. They were 0-5 in games decided by 7 points or less. Some of that is luck. Some of that is coaching. And so if they are just better in the close games and better against their better opponents, then this team goes from 8-8, 9-7 to 11-5, 12-4, where I think they're going to fall this year. So I think this is a massive upgrade for them. I think the message grew stale, Jenna, and I think they'll be better for it.
Yeah. They had almost a decade under Jason Garrett. They needed something different. On to Baltimore now, where Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are getting ready for a Week 1 showdown with Baker and the Browns. Mark Ingram, little honesty, saying we still have strides to go to be the team we want to be. Our friends at Fox Bet don't think it's that many strides. They've got the Ravens at plus 650 to win the Super Bowl. Only the Chiefs with better odds. Hey, Brandon, what's the biggest key, you think, to Lamar and the Ravens representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year?
Just that, the maturation of Lamar Jackson. I mean, this guy's a once-in-a-generation type player. It reminds me of Tom Brady. It reminds me of Peyton Manning. And I was trying to figure out how to describe this to you guys. And the best thing that came up was this. When we used to sit in meetings, game planning for the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts, our scheme changed. Everything that we did, not only on defense, but on offense changed. the way to stop Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, we actually changed our entire offensive scheme. We went more clock management and ball control than actually running the plays that we were used to playing, because we knew the only chance that we had was to keep the ball out of those guys' hands. And that's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can beat you on both ends. He can throw it, he can run it. So the only way you can stop him is keep the ball out of his hands. Trying to go into two-man, cover 2, cover 8, cover 4, cover 3, it doesn't work. He can beat you anyway, and we saw that last year. He took a step forward, being able to stand in the pocket, throw the ball, play action. Now, the next step for him is actually getting to his first and second read quicker. So everything falls on Lamar Jackson and his progression forward.
To me, the next step for Lamar is, and this sounds cliche, but it's true, can you throw the ball effectively when the other team knows you're going to throw it? Because what made Brady and Manning and Mahomes now so historically special is when you knew they were throwing it, you still couldn't stop them. That is the one kink in Lamar's armor right now. In a tie game or with the Ravens leading, when the run is a viable option, it is a nearly unstoppable offense. But when that play action threat is removed, when that run game threat is removed, they've stagnated, particularly in the postseason the last 2 years. So, Jenna, that's the key. The key is, is that the next step for Lamar? If it is, then they should be the favorites instead of the second favorites. If they can, Brandon, you disagree? That's been the one issue.
I disagree.
If you're trailing by 10,
how many touchdowns did he throw last year?
Yeah, how many of those were while
sat
leading
in the
is the
pocket
problem?
And delivered.
Oh, right, correct.
Oh,
but
goodness.
I just
listen, help our
Lamar's
guy
great,
out here.
but that's the one
our guy out
flaw.
here.
That's the one flaw. When you know he's going to pass, he hasn't been as successful.
See, I'm going to push back against the narrative that everybody figured the Ravens out. They're like, he's not going to be able to run so much. So the over-under for Lamar is 924 yards. He ran for 1,200 last year. That means he only needs to run for 56 yards on Fox Bet. You can go get it. Nick Wright's not the only one making prognostications out here. Your old friend Kevin Wildes giving you good bets on Fox Sports and good Netflix recommendations in the same segment.
Oh, my God.